All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is Radio Angel Investing. I'm joking that they asked us to start again because it's a podcast. So we gave it a little bit of a radio start. Today's topic is understanding the role of angel investors, who they are, what they do, and how they can help companies be more successful. And in addition, we're going to talk also about the role angels can play in helping startups enter new markets and expand abroad. We have an amazing panel this afternoon. We'll be discussing over the next 45 minutes or so with our friends sitting here. To my right, we have Edgardo Fonseca, who's the chairman of the Sophia Business Angel Network, a network based here in the south of France. We have Liolios, who's the chairman of the AFRICAlink. We have Yacine RAHMOUN, who's the CEO, founder of the Casbah Business Angel and the founder of the AFBAN Angel Network. Marta, HUIDOBRO, who is the founder of the Women Angel Investors for STEAM, besides being a board member of the Spanish Association for Angel Investors. And completing our panel, Ricardo, who's our founder of the INVICTA Angel Network, founder of the Portuguese Federation of Business Angels, and also board member of EBAN, like Marta is. So they'll all be introducing themselves also a little bit more during the panel. But we start off first understanding what are angels and how they help the startups. So maybe starting from Edgardo, what is a business angel? How do they help the company? What kind of help do the founders need the most when they come and ask us for their investment?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to make a bit of presentation about Sophia Business Angel. We are based in the Technopole of Sophia Antipolis, not far away from here. We have something particular, which is we are very international. So compared to other business angels, which are much with the focus of regional approach, we are very much cosmopolitan, because the Technopole makes that we are coming from different countries. Myself, I'm Argentina, born and grew up in Argentina, living in the States for a while, and then moved to Europe. And I say come for 2-3 years, and it's lasting almost 40 years already. So adapted to become Provençal in the region. And then we created that club about 22 years ago, in 2002. So many of the members are coming from different places that they came to Sophia Antipolis. Marcel is one of the members, emeritus president as well. I am one of the founders, and I am a president again now of that club. Having said that about the presentation, what is a business angel? Business angel is somebody who has experience and a professional, and he makes some private investors at the early stages. So we decided to put our money, taking a bigger risk than the VCs or other financial institutions, banks and other, which are more adverse to risk than we are. So the thing is, we have to take the challenge to go and help companies, sometimes at very early stages. But it's not just only the money, as Jacopo asked me. Our role is to detect how we can help these entrepreneurs to push their, let's say, the idea or the creation into a real business, and giving them back not only the money, but as well our experience on that. And I am not going to monopolize the word, so I'm going to finish saying how can we help them out, having more time, speed up the process. And I would say, just as a phrase to remember, to me, one of the issues is entrepreneurs is to get too focused in getting money, looking for subsidized, and it's very distractive at the early stages. So in many cases, business angels, we can support them because we are saying, hey, you keep in the business, you keep capturing new market or new customers, and we're going to help you out to go faster and quicker and get the money you need to expand your company.
Thank you, Edgardo. And Panayotis, you're also doing work to invest and then support the founders. How do you
I want to introduce you. Me, I'm the chairman of AFRICAlink. I don't know if you know what is AFRICAlink. It's a network of entrepreneurs from Africa, France, and Europe. We want to promote the development of business between entrepreneurs of small and medium company from Africa and Europe. And for a long time we say there is a lot of opportunity between Africa and Europe. We must invest. And one day we decide to to create a small fund, AFRICAlink Invest, to invest in a small project, because for many years we saw so many projects with a lot of problems to resolve, and so we want to help and invest money and time. That's why because we are entrepreneur, and of course it's not every time only problems of money, but time and experience of each member. And we begin very small, because the first fund we are less 100,000 euro invest, and we invest our money, not the money of another people. We have, and it's not exactly a fund; it's a company between member and member. They know everybody. And I want to say the first thing, it's to identify the project and to trust in one project. And when you trust in one project, after, if you want to see to develop it, but we can put a little money at the beginning and to spend time and to share your experience, and that's our idea. Perhaps it's look like here very simple idea, but for sure it's difficult, because by example, when we create the fund, a classical company, SAS in France, it's very difficult, because we say it's AFRICAlink Invest. We want to invest in Africa, and of course the first problem we have is with the bank. Only to create, it's our money. It's not the money of another people, it's our money. And so imagine for the entrepreneurs, young entrepreneur in Africa, how much difficult it will be, or for the people that are in France to develop the business between France, Europe, and Africa. So,
thank you. And Yacine, in your perspective, how do you help the startups after you've invested in them? What kind of help do the founders need the most?
Yeah. So at Casbah Business Angels in the beginning in Algeria, there was a whole ecosystem that took place: incubators, business plan competitions, universities, and ideas, and connecting this. But there was something missing in the brick, which is the business angel concept. So we had to create Casbah Business Angel to address the issue that startups had a couple of options, which is to have a debt to get some money, or grants, or from some competitions. And then we created this business angels so that they can have this new way of raising money. As far as the help, going back to your question, Jacopo, is that we probably focus a lot on helping them in building a team, HR enhancing, because at the end of the day, a startup, it's all about the team, right? And helping them strategize and execute their business plan. Our slogan at Casbah Business Angel, it's more than money. And the good news is that we've got a business angels that are from both sides of the sea, Africa and Europe, and of course the North American side. So obviously we try to give them bridges to our networking and contacts so that they can have more help and bandwidth and tailwind in the sales process and the marketing process. And when we look at today's world, the AI component is so important, because I believe that everybody who can figure out how to increase exponentially their productivity using AI are going to be the winners. So today, this new component of AI with startups is, in the past we had with business angels some linear growth and help. With AI, we try to really pass the message to them that they should use it just to exponentially grow their productivity, but also from a revenue standpoint.
Excellent kind of guidance. Yeah. Marta, how do you help startups after you invest, and if any stories or examples that come to mind?
Yeah. Well, I will explain a little bit what Women Angels for the STEAM is, and maybe AEBAN as well. So Women Angels for the STEAM is an association which is just has women as members. We started to promote that there are more women within the business angels business, which are very low. Normally we talk about less than 10%. And the reason why this is important is not only because you add the money of the women to the one that is already available for funders, but because there is some biases always hidden, and women receive less finance, women entrepreneurs receive less finance than men. So the way of saving this problem is to put more women at in the business of business angels. This is a very positive win-win solution because you have more money and more brains working for entrepreneurs. So trying to add to what they already said, which I agree with everything, I think that business angels have a very special role of helping to create a company in the sense of a business, because sometimes you find a couple of scientific or a couple of technicians and they don't know about enterprise, how to manage an enterprise. So normally business angels are people with some years, as we all, that help have the experience and can help on creating an enterprise. And the good thing is that normally you can have several business angels, so you can choose the kind of help that they can provide. So typically you can find a company having someone who is very good in finance and business management, but you have someone from your sector, so that can help you to understand how to deal with customers, even suppliers and so on. And then you have someone very good on IT that can help you with other things. Or so I think that is to have a variety of business angel can give you a lot of support, and then you can have this by having separate business angels that you look for, or to look for a group of business angels that already invest together. So for instance, in Women Angel Forest Team, we are 180 women from the whole variety of professional profiles that you can imagine. So whenever any of our founders give us a call and say, do you know someone in Coca-Cola? Do you know something about CEO? Do you know something about medical regulation? Do you know? There is always someone that can help. And that's, yeah, I think it's very interesting of grouping, I mean, the business angels, as most of us do. So we invest by our own, but we invest as well as in group that give you a lot of brain material for helping. Yeah.
Thank you, Marta. And Ricardo, how about, in your opinion, how angels help startups? What is the role of the angel? What kind of help do the companies need the most? And tell us a little bit more also your background.
I can give an example about something that happens. But before that, I can talk a little bit about what happened in Portugal, because I think it can be useful for other countries. That a long time ago we have maybe one group of angels. So I found a group in Porto. I have two friends that live near Lisbon, that also Polandese and Francisco Banha, that found two groups. And we decided together to create a federation of associations of business angels. And then we've been walking around the country, helping others to create their business angel networks. And after that, because we are in the beginning, we try to convince, and we got convinced, but then I can talk about this, our government to create a co-investment scheme between public money and private money. And that was very, very important to bring a lot of people to become angel investor. And then I was invited to be a board member of a national promotion institution in Portugal, where I launched some co-investment schemes with business angels and also with venture capital funds. And so I've been in the last years in all the process, in all parts of the system of create this ecosystem of angel investors, early stage investors. And right now in Portugal, it's very interesting what is happening, because we have a lot of groups. Some of the groups evolve to become venture capital funds. Some of them give up. Some of them still are groups of business angels, but the market is much more mature. And this is very important for all the startups that we have in the country. About what we can do, and my colleagues, they all said, but I want to give an example that I think it's something that show what we do, because I believe that all of us have one of these examples. Once a professor, university professor and scientist come to me and say, I have a patent technology, I'm amazing. He didn't say that, but it was. And I want to create a company, a startup, because he wants a startup. I say, okay, fantastic. Tell me what you do. And he pitched me for 2 hours. And he presented me an amazing technology, really. I really thought that it was. But in the end of the presentation, I told him, okay, it's amazing, but what do you want to do with this? What are your customers? What is the product? What is the service? And he stopped, looked at me, and he could not answer me. And I told him, okay, but if you can't answer me, I don't know how to help you. Go home and think. And he comes to me 1 month after, and a few years after he told me, I was so mad with you because I'm a scientist, a professor, and he said me and I could not answer you. So I say, what is with this guy? But he came with an answer. And I say, okay, now I can start to work with you. So I help him to develop a business model. I help him to develop a business plan. In the end of it, we need 2 million euros to start the company. And I didn't have 2 million euros. And I talked with some friends, and we got, I don't know, 200K or something like that, but still a lot of money missing. So I knocked the door of some venture capital funds, and we convinced one of them to invest in the company. And they invest. And we create the company with this professor. And so all this process is something that is very important because we can bring, this abstraction to reality when we believe it. Sometimes we believe in the wrong things. I did a lot. Sometimes we didn't believe in the very good things. I also did a lot. But sometimes we believe, and then we invest. Then it's another story that I'm not going to talk because we did all the mistakes that we can do. We could write a book about it. But now the company is really, really very profitable, and so it's very. And this is a real example that I believe that all of us have one of these examples.
Do we want to do a story, if you have a story to tell, on an example like Ricardo made? Whoever wants to go first or has a concrete story to share of how they helped an entrepreneur.
I wouldn't say that I have several stories. And some of them, let's say, had the issue to be over-optimistic or pessimistic. But I think that to one extent, I believe to be an entrepreneur, you have to be more in the optimistic side, right? Yeah, otherwise, you are not creating a company and you go to the post office. So if you are creating a company, it's because you have some challenge. And most of the cases, it's a very optimistic approach they have. But it's a kind of a generic pattern is that sometimes they come to find a solution, as he said in terms of this, but the key point is what is the unmet need you are providing to the humanity or the society. Sometimes I found very often companies that are providing a solution, but they are looking for a problem. So that's the bottom line of the issue. I mean, first of all, you understand what are you bringing to humanity, what are being like a solution, and then you come with, that is the way that I will arrive to achieve those items. So then there are examples that many companies or projects we follow, they didn't have the right clear solution or services they were providing, but over the time they corrected course correction action, and they come out with getting the right product. And others, no, they are just high technologists, and they're very focused on that. And as I said before, there are two huge mistakes you can find as an entrepreneur. One is to focus yourself just to raise money. That is wrong, because you have to focus to make your business. And then as well, when doing the business, how do you satisfy something which is a demand? There is a high demand we're producing. So that to me is let's say the foundation to build up on top of a great company. Yeah. So, and given our experience, we can help the entrepreneurs sometimes because we've been through that. either for companies we invested, we lose the money, or companies we been involved with. So, as I said, the only advantage we can is just to identify issues that can be corrected in advance.
Yacine, you have a story.
Yeah, I will.
Wanted to share.
I will. Speaking of Europe and Africa, recently invested in a startup company based in Europe, and it's in the travel agency business, selling packages to Africa, in particular to Algeria. And very quickly, a startup could be intimidated by those big guys and big brands, and then so our value added was to explain to them that today the branding is no longer the logo. The branding is the customer experience. So our role was to basically tell them that it's something of customer satisfaction, but we live in a world that changes rapidly. And so customer experience is today the branding and the importance of listening to customer. And they are making the product. It's a co-creation. And so in that regard, we explained to them, for example, that 2 decades ago, you have so many coffee shops, and then Starbucks was the coffee shop that had so many people waiting to drink coffee, queue, and the other one had very good coffee. But Starbucks actually sent the message that it's not just drinking coffee, it's the experience of drinking coffee. So what we try to do with the startup, like other startups, is to basically tell them, if you can make that the journey or the trip is an experience, and thinking differently to bring innovation, it's very easy for startups to work on the iteration, which is to work on the existing and make it faster and cheaper and more efficient. Don't get me wrong, this is not something we should not do. Iteration is very important. But innovation, to encourage the staff to think differently, to innovate and make the old processes obsolete, is the way to go. So this brought back, in my opinion, some confidence to the startup, and now is really shifting the paradigm shift on the mindset to really think of customer experience instead of competing on customer satisfaction with the big guys.
Very good point. Panayotis, if you have...
Yes, I have a story. The beginning of the story begin here in Emerging Valley before 5 years. I was in charge to coach a young entrepreneur. He was 26. And you know, I'm just chairman of AFRICAlink, but my business, I'm partner of a firm, Exco. It's a firm of audit, accounting, and consulting. And we are in Africa. We have 600 people. And so I meet this guy, 26 years, and he tell me he was from Burkina Faso, and you know the situation of Burkina Faso. And he had an idea. He said to me, I want to create a legal tech. I said, wow, explain me. And he had a very good idea, and for me it's innovation of business and in Africa. And I can't imagine me from here to say we need a legal tech in Burkina Faso. And I say, why? He say me, in Burkina Faso, it's very, and in another country in Africa, it's very difficult to go to have when you have litigation and when you have problem with the law. You must go to the town. You must stay to the town because it's far away from the home, and you must have a hotel you stay to eat, and it's very expensive. And a lot of women in Burkina Faso, when they have problem, they can go to the tribunal for to say I have problem and I want to solve. And they said, but now all the women everywhere in Burkina Faso, they have a phone, and it's more easy to find a lawyer by phone to explain the problem and to explain what is a law, because if you are in the country, there is no the legal law, it's the local law. And it's very different. And for this guy, of course, we have the idea of AFRICAlink Invest because I coach him, but after, when you have the idea, you must have buy a computer and to develop the business. And we have a lot of history like this for innovation from the local market, and it's incredible because that's a lot of opportunity in Africa. And perhaps for the fund, you can help this guy now.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So,
Thank you.
Even though we all invest in women, but
It's for women. It's for the
it's for
women.
women, but it's not a women founder. We will talk about it.
maybe to continue on this topic of opportunities that European startups can make in Africa and vice versa, African startups, what opportunities can they have in Europe in terms of solving problems, solving needs that Europe has or vice versa Africa has? Maybe
Yeah.
Marta, why don't you start with this?
Yeah, I thought about two examples that are the one of each way. I'm sorry, but I can't remember the name of the company, the first one. So it's a company that created at the beginning, like with some donation and so on. But now it's a real company. They created a company to teach and certify people in his country, in somewhere in Africa, I don't remember.
Okay.
So they teach and certify to be developers, IT developers.
Okay.
And then what he does is he find work for them in Europe. So there are a lot of companies looking for developers because they are not in Europe enough developers. So they prepare these people to be able to work for them in obviously online, as every developer works. And so he, in, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, he has already trained and certified 2,000 people that are working basically full-time. So that's a wonderful way of really connect and the two worlds, because they are and they stay at their place, because he had the founder had a very bad experience. It's one of these people that was walking all Africa to get to Europe, and he said, yeah, this has no sense. We really want to stay at home, so let's find a way to do business at home. And so they are, every year they are multiplying and doubling the number of people certified, and they have enough quality to make them to have work all the time, which I think is a wonderful experience. And I think that developer is a obvious one, but maybe we could think of some other kind of work that can be done online. We have some experience about India as well with this in 10 or 15 years ago. So I think that there should be a way of making these capacities to be working from local. The other one is a Spanish company. This I know very well because I am an investor. They have developed platform on artificial intelligence. Not GPT, I'm talking about 6 or 7 years ago they started. And they have built capacities to, with pictures of different samples that you can take with your phone, and the algorithms of the platform, they can identify a number of neglected diseases like malaria and many others that I can't, the names for me are too complicated, and even cancer on blood tests. So they are doing a lot of work with local doctors who can just, with their telephone, being able to do the diagnosis and treatment for these people. And again, I think this is really one of those, so you have the knowledge is developed there, but it's put in service of all the, they have had projects in many different countries, in Kenya and Guinea, and I don't know, many of them. So, yeah, I think that they have this idea of, because they do that as well for Europe, but this idea of having an impact of what they were doing, and they got some funds like this. In this case, was the Melinda Gates Foundation gave them the money to develop this in Africa, and that's a very nice case as well.
Wow.
They are called Sport Lab, if anyone is interested.
Thank you, Marta, for the story. And do we have any similar examples or stories of maybe African company scaling up in Europe or vice versa, European company scaling up and addressing challenges on the African continent? Yes, indeed. There's no order, but Yacine, if you have a story in mind.
I think in regard to that question, something very important that could help in scalability on your question is that I would like to remind that Africans and Europeans, they share a lot of common values and languages and culture. I have a friend from Switzerland who lives in France. He says, Yacine, the Algerian culture is huge. I mean, we ate couscous, we put kilometers of barbecue, merguez, and then we danced Algerian music and everything, and vice versa. So I think, and there is this geographical proximity. So this is all good thing. When I talk about the examples, we have, as I was talking with my friend Edgardo earlier, there is this Portuguese company that invested, we co-invested with them in processing cork in Algeria to build products based on the cork. And it's now more than a decade where we started this relationship from zero and growing to very good revenues, except that today, and vice versa, we invested in European startups that are doing well. And I think that a good example is to build these bridges between business angels. I mean, Jacopo, you've been, for example, very helpful, and EBAN has been very inspiring for us when it comes to setting up Casbah Business Angel, but also AFBAN. So I think that those are very good platforms to basically connect those opportunities to not only start the company and have a round amount of money, but also to expand the business relationship. I don't want to sound like negative. There is very good positive examples, but I think in your question is, what are things that could be challenging to both investment on both sides of the African? For me as an African, I mean, today is an opportunity to share this, but the reason why we have a lot of things in common, if you take Algeria, a picture of a family goes all the way from Norway to South Africa. We are a mix. I mean, we have, you know, Europeans came to live in Africa. We have people from the Arab world, etc. So we're building this melting pot. But for example, one thing that has been challenging in the relationship when it comes to business, I hear a lot of stories about the visa processing. So for example, if you have startups from both sides of the ocean, not the ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, that I would like to work, I'm told that the process of getting a visa for an African startup is extremely bureaucratic. And so I think it's important for us to pass on the message so that those processes for getting visas to come here and do business get smarter and more intelligent. I mean, today a visa application for a startup is mixed with somebody willing to go to the beach. So I think they should really enhance this so that we can increase the relationship and business exchanges. People tell me sometimes, I was invited to BPI France last year, and I was told that they were asking me this question: how come Chinese are taking a lot of market shares, you know, in Africa, and there is less in Europe? I said, well, that's one thing to fix, because some people have very good intent to come and buy from Europe and vice versa. And so I think the visa issue has to be addressed and looked at. Yeah.
Do the Chinese need visa? Chinese?
They both need, but the way they process it is very intelligent. The Great Britain, for example, they have 2 queues for visas. There is one if you want to be a tourist. Marcel can comment this better than me. So if you want to go to visit London, you apply through a process and a queue. If you do business, they have a separate process. Schengen is one queue.
Of course, the visa is a very, very big problem for the very big problem. We can mention. I want just to explain something for the European investor. In Africa, we don't say it a lot. The first resource of Africa is the human resource. Is the first resource. In my business, before, of course, all the resource was in Europe. Now, I was in charge of training of the team in Africa, and we have the level wasn't the same, of course, before 20 years. Now, the level of the team are better in the Africa team than in Europe team. And the resource in Africa is incredible. So for that, if you want to invest, it's there is a lot of opportunity, a lot of idea for innovation. It's incredible. They can do a lot of things. And for me, it's very important. And we must say it's the first resource. Sorry.
And
Just,
yeah, absolutely. We have a final kind of round of some
small joke. Please forgive me because we are friends. But Yacine is not two Qs. In England, it's three Is. One for tourists, another one for business, and another for people from France.
Right.
But now, one thing that I don't know too much about Africa. I know a little bit about countries like Angola, Mozambique, Cape Verde, because they are former Portuguese countries. But what I do believe that nowadays the beauty of the world where we live is that the knowledge is everywhere. And with technologies, you can find the best knowledge in Port, in Marseille, in Doha, in Cape Verde. That doesn't matter. So I think the most important thing that we can do is try to find the best people in the best place and then open markets for them. If they are in Africa, we can, I'll open the markets that we know as business angels. If we know the best, if I know better Portuguese market, I can help someone to come to our market. But if the best market is in an African country, because some of them are, for some products right now, try to help our startups to go there. So I think this is a way that we can do, not thinking too much that it's Europe, it's Africa, but it's people, the best one. Because they can do everything, almost everything with the technologies that we have today. And this is beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Opening up new markets, going international, maybe last round of comments. What can go wrong? How can angels help avoid it?
Everything.
Jacopo, if I can, I won't tell you what will be wrong because my colleagues will tell. But what I just wanted to say about this is that in order business angel to invest in another country, for us it's very difficult because there is a risk related to different regulation, different financial politics and so on. So if you really want money coming from another country, not professional money, I mean our money, the one that can help with the solve problems, you really need to have local business angels because we really trust another business angel. So if you have a company and there is a business angel, for me, that will be the lead investor, the one I will trust to have all the contracts with that follow, and I will be able to invest in a company if they have a business angel that can replace me, let's say, and talk with me. And then once you have this business angel from another country, this business angel can help you to open another market, to contact you with the people in that country. But I don't think that you can go straight forward to another business angel in another country. That's my, yes, what I wanted to say.
I agree.
It takes time to build the trust and the relationships, though. How are you cultivating at SPA, all of these relationships?
Let's say that one basic thing about what Ricardo says, Marta and Yacine, we are all in the same frequency in terms of Europe and Africa. Traditionally, business angels don't like to invest in companies that they cannot go by car, they said. So it is in the notion of proximity, which is important. However, more and more, given the communication advantages we get, video conferences and all those things, the distance are getting more proximal. So I think there is a change in this paradigm. We need to head maybe wider ways. And joining what they said in terms of collaboration with local representatives, to me is basically, and even to avoid mistakes, a recipe for entrepreneurship success. There's two main things. One is talent, another is resilience. And sometimes I see that in underdeveloping countries, the resilience is much stronger than in the bigger countries. So we do our International Venture Academy, where we get companies coming from Eastern Europe or whatever countries. And sometimes you see that those that don't have too much resources, they are more clever, and if you can bring them some experience to minimize the risk or avoid mistakes, that is a good combination. So we have a lot to do, and events like this one, getting the proximity between some of us, which are Europeans, with African representative, that is in the right direction.
Absolutely. Any words from your side on
Yes,
going international and how we can help the founders?
It's very important to have local trust, of course. If you don't have local trust, you can do nothing. Of course, in my business, it's the same. If I don't have local partner, I can do nothing. I know nothing, of course. And with AFRICAlink and AFRICAlink Invest, of course, we need to have our local member to say, this idea is okay, this guy or this woman is okay. We can invest time, experience, money, and
Contacts and networks.
A network, of course. And if you don't have, because it's different. In Africa, we have the same language. We have similar law. And that's why it's difficult. That's why, because we have some culture similar, but not exactly. So you need to know exactly what happened on the local market, and you have local trust. If you don't have it, you can do nothing.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And Yacine, maybe just last and the final comments, so we close the panel on time.
Yeah, exactly. Very quick. So one of the things we can do to help, obviously, founders and investment, we recently founded the African Federation Business Angel Network, so that we can address the capacity, the low bandwidth of business angels, and then also to connect different great organizations. It's ironic that I have to come to France and learn that AFRICAlink exists in Africa. So I think that there is so many standalone great organizations that need to be federated and connect. And I congratulate you with what you're doing. It's pretty much impressive. And I agree with you that AFBAN, one day, we Africans could be very quickly proud and say, we don't need nobody, we're going to do things alone. In Africa, we're going to conquer the world. In fact, we decided that with Marcel and some friends and Audra here, that AFBAN should be, and it is today, both Europeans and African people who could do this work, so that when there is local investment, it could also bring some credibility in the European side. I absolutely agree with you here. And then also, for me, it's a message to send that Africa should not be looked at only as a market, but as a win-win opportunity. EBAN has been a very inspiring thing to us. So we would like to not orchestrate everybody, but with FBAN, having people from friends from different continents, especially from Europe, and AFBAN, we could build more capacity, more bandwidth. Using AI and technology, we can see these opportunities to co-invest. And I'm looking forward that we always say business execution is more important than concept. So I think that we are here to basically find solutions on how can we build capacity and bring credibility. Thank you.
Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed this conversation we've had this afternoon and learned something new about the world of angel investment and how we can help founders in their journey towards success. And I invite you all to connect with one another. There's a lot of links that are needed to make this bridge across our Europe and African regions actually work. So let's use events like this and other similar conferences to make those ties a lot stronger than they are nowadays. Please give a round of applause to our wonderful panel. Thank you so much.